I'm going to be your prospect. We get to the end of the call and I say, Perry, this sounds awesome. I just need some time to think about it. Go.
Wait, right now?
Right now.
Wait, you just said you just need to think about it?
Yeah, I just need to think about it.
This is fun. Okay. But let me ask you, during this call is actually going to be a great time to chat about what you might need to think about, because any questions you may have, we can just talk about it right now. So tell me, what do you feel like you need to think about?
It all sounds great. I just, I'm not the type of person who makes a decision on the spot. I just need to think about it.
Totally understand. I would definitely want to think about it as well. I like to make sure that I'm clear with the decisions that I'm making. As it relates to what you might want to be thinking about, let's get a better handle on that. Tell me, is it the price that you want to think about? Is it you showing up? Like, is it your commitment? Tell me a little bit more about that.
No, I can definitely show up. I just need some time to think about it. That's all. I just need to sit with it, Yeah.
Right. I get that too. Is there an element of like doubts that you have that's coming up for yourself and in the way that you think?
No, it's great. Like, everything sounds great. Love what you're doing. Yeah, I just need like a couple days to sit with this.
Totally. Okay. So here's what I hear, Yuri. You need to think about it, which I totally get. But until you go back to your room, you sleep on it, what I think will happen is that your doubt's going to creep in. You're going to think you can't do this. You're going to come up with a million reasons and a million excuses why now is not the best time. Telling you why thinking about it is going to change your perspective or change your situation even more when we could just talk through things, right?
Awesome. Okay. Pause. Considering I just kind of threw it at you, I thought you did really well. You handled it well. You weren't flustered. You weren't lost. You did your best to kind of find your way through that. So good job on a moment's notice. I want you guys to be so comfortable at this where you could like get woken up at 2 a.m. and you know how to handle it, or you're having a bowl of cereal and you're like, oh, no problem. So well done. I'm going to give you guys a word track, and Perry, you may want to write this down as well. Okay, this is going to get to the core of the issue, okay? Because with the I need to think about it, it can go on forever sometimes. So the person says I need to think about it. You did, first thing was, hey, I totally understand. I completely agree that you'd want to, take a moment to think about it. So we acknowledge all the time. We always want to agree. So whatever your flavor is of the agreements or the acknowledgements, hey, totally get that. Totally fine. Not a problem at all. So that would be the first, no matter what they say, right? No matter what they say. Second piece, now we're going to go to isolate and reframe. So this is going to be handled in basically the following sentence or paragraph. So listen, I've been doing this for a long time, Perry. And in my experience, when someone tells me they need to think about it or they want to think about it, it's usually for one of two reasons. Number one is they're not really sold on this as a solution to help them get X, Y, or Z, right? So in your case, like to lose the weight or whatever it is. But I don't think that's your case, because if that were the case, I don't even think we'd still be talking. Am I right? Okay, and that leads me to believe that it has something to do with the investment. So what's your main concern? Is it the price or the payments? Which one is it for you? And what that does is it gets to the core of the issue. And they're either going to say, well, no, it's not the payments. Okay, cool. So if it's not the payments, what else is going on, right? They'll usually bring the truth up. So they'll either say, yeah, like it's a little bit more than I've been, wanting to spend. Let's open this up to, so Chris, I'm going to play with you on the pricing. Okay. You ready to rock? All right. So yeah, Chris, like it's yeah, I mean, like it's a little bit more than I wanted to spend. That's probably the biggest issue here.
I hear you. And it is an investment. But let me ask you, what do you think your health is worth to you?
It's priceless. I couldn't even put a number on it.
So then if your health is priceless, shouldn't you invest in it?
Yeah.
And how do you think this investment is too much compared to what?
I mean, just compared to some stuff I've done in the past.
And has that stuff worked for you?
No.
All right, we're still in the same situation. Sometimes you just gotta go with the more expensive choice. You have to spend to get what you want. Usually, when you take the cheap option, it just doesn't work. So, we could break this down to the payments. What would work for you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just too much. So anyway, we'll pause there. So, good job. How'd you feel through that, Chris?
My heart's racing like a champ. If I had my watch, I'm sure my Pulse is like 122 right now.
Yeah, I could feel it. You guys can feel that in his voice, right? This, guys, like I want you guys to feel the pressure of the group here. This is powerful because if you can handle the pressure here, you'll handle it in a one-on-one, right? So the objections usually flow from like a stall to price to the real issue, which is generally around the product or the offer or the solution or them themselves. So if I can, let me just role play this with you a little bit, Chris. I'll be you. So you say, hey, it's just a little bit, it's a little bit too expensive.
It's just a little bit too expensive.
Hey, Chris, listen, I totally get that. I understand that. So when I hear that it's a little bit too expensive for you, what I'm hearing is that the money is a big concern for you. Would you agree?
Yes.
Cool. So if money is a concern for you, and if you want to obviously make the most use of your dollars, then it'll make a lot of sense to do it right once as opposed to doing it wrong twice. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Because if you did it twice, you're going to pay twice or 3 times as much versus doing it once properly the first time and solving it once and for all. Would that be fair to say?
That would be fair to say.
So let me ask you this. Again, like this is your body, your life, what you want to do, but which makes the most sense for you? Do you want to keep wasting your time, which by the way, you can never get back, and keep wasting your money and frustration on things that are maybe cheaper and not really getting the results? Or do you finally want to solve this once and for all and actually save money today?
Crap, you just do that too well. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. And then you just close the sale, right? So cool. Which of the payment options works best for you? Visa, MasterCard, Amex. So, but again, like not everyone's going to just be like, yeah, okay, let's do this. They'll still come back to like whatever the stall is. When they do that, they're there. You got to stay in the pocket with them. You have to push through, but try to just, like don't worry so much about the word tracks and really start to think about, hey man, like if I'm lost in a conversation and I'm like, I don't even know what to say here, I might just be like, Chris, I'm going to be honest. I don't even know what to say here, but I care about you and I'm not giving up on you. So how do we make this happen? Right? Like worst case scenario, I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to figure out, let me just stay in the pocket with you and let's just talk about this. And understand in the back of my mind, okay, it's probably not about the money. Like, so you asked the question, like, what's your health worth to you? Okay. So I'll give you a nuance on that. So Chris, like, what's your health worth to you? Everything, right? Now I don't give you the chance to even answer, right? What would it be worth to you to solve this once and for all? Everything, right? Yeah. Well, the good news is I'm not asking for everything. I'm just asking for a small investment and a commitment today to help you move in that direction. Can we do that? Is that fair? Right? Because a lot of people can't put a price on their health, right? So when you say like, how valuable is your health or what price would you put on your health? They would say priceless. It'd be like, cool. Well, I'm not asking you to make a priceless investment, or I don't need everything from you. I just need you to make a small commitment today so we can take the first step to achieving the body, the dreams, et cetera, that you want. Can we do that? And then it's just from that point. So guys, here's the thing. When you go from the stall to I need to think about it to into the money, now it's like shit or get off the pot for the prospect. And now this becomes a coaching conversation. So we almost, again, like the scripts can go out the window and now it's like, hey man, Chris, like, I get this, man. Like you don't want to make the wrong decision. I get it. I'm here for you, man. Let's talk about this. And when they feel you care about them and you're just sitting there with them, when people feel safe with you, they'll start to open up. So worst case scenario, guys, you don't know how to take the conversation. It's just like, just go for like lean in from your heart. Like I really care about this person. If I let them go, I let them down. Right? And then I'll give you one more thing. If the person's like, well, listen, like I really like, yeah, the money is what it is. Like I just don't have the funds. I can't get the money together right at this moment. Okay, that's totally fair. I want to help you through this. So just so we're on the same page, which of the two options, payment-wise, would you want to move forward with? Like prepay or the payment option, whatever. They choose one. Okay, cool. So what's the game plan? Let's talk through this. I'm here to support you. What's the game plan? And they're going to say, well, I'll get a 0% credit card, or I'll apply for a loan, or I'm going to sell my house, or I'm going to sell my car. I'm going to wait for an investment to liquidate, or I'm going to ask my mom. Amazing. Hey, I love the fact that you're so resourceful, because what I've recognized in my experience is it's not about the resources. It's about how resourceful you are. And the very fact that you're being resourceful here tells me you actually want to solve this once and for all. And that's what I'm looking for in a client. So great job. Let me ask you a question though. What happens if that doesn't pan out? What happens if you don't, that thing, whatever they said, doesn't work out? We wouldn't let that get in the way of you insert what they want, would we? No. So we want to help them stay resourceful. So now they're fully committed to the process. And the last thing we want to do here is let them off the phone without some kind of deposit. So let's say they can't make the payment, but like, hey, listen, like I want to give you as much time as you need to get the stuff in order. So what we'll do is we'll take down a small deposit just to confirm your spot on the program so you don't lose it and you don't pay more in the future. And then you have as much time as you need over the next couple of days. See what I just did there? You take as much time as you need over the next couple of days or whatever the deadline is to get your stuff in order. And again, if there's anything you need that I can support you with in the process, please let me know. Okay. And so whatever the deposit is, $500, $1,000, etc. Now, if they're not willing to put down a deposit, they're not coming into the program. Okay. Because at this point, they've told you like, I want to be in, right? And the only reason they would not leave a deposit is because they're going to back out. They're going to send you an email the next day. Like, you know what? I thought about it. And I see this, guys, I see this all the time. It drives me crazy in our own business. I'm like, please see the writing on the wall. They're not putting a deposit down. They're not working with us, which means they don't trust us, or we haven't spent enough time with them in the conversation for them to feel safe in doing so, right? So like if you knew you were going to do this, why wouldn't you put down a deposit? That's just the thinking I'm coming from. So we want to get the deposit. And the key is when you're asking for the deposit, you don't like, hey, like, would it be okay if we put down a deposit? Like, don't use that like flaky energy. Just keep it super cash. So Perry, awesome. So what we'll do is we'll put down a small deposit right now, hold your spot, confirm the price. You don't have to pay more in the future. And you can take as much time as you want from now until Monday to get all your stuff in order. Is that good for you? Just super casual, right? As soon as we start changing the energy to like, okay, I mean, would it be okay if we put down a deposit today? Like, do you think airlines is ever doing that? Do you think a hotel is ever doing that? They're like, no. So we'll put down the first night's deposit to like save the room. You're like, okay, here's my credit card. They're not going to be like, well, let me think about it. You know, what if the hotel's not here after? Like, no, like that's the way it is. So keep it just super casual. Or another thing you can do is like, hey, listen, like a lot of my clients are in a very similar position what you're sharing here. And what they typically do is we put down a small deposit. What they typically do is put down a small deposit because they know that by committing, they're committed. Right. So you can kind of like use like people like you have done this because when they do so, they're committed. No, like I'm totally in. I'll definitely do it in a couple of days. No, like, hey, listen, like I believe you. I believe you. Unfortunately, here's also what I've seen. I've been doing this a long time, and 99 times out of 100, if we get off this call without some type of commitment, it's just not happening. Right. And again, like I would totally understand that if we were at this, in the conversation and you didn't think this is a good fit for you, I knew this wouldn't help you, 100% I would agree. You told me this is what you want to do. I know with 100% confidence I can help you. So what's your main concern in putting down a small deposit today to commit yourself to this dream you want? Right? It's just coaching at this point, right? What's the fear? And it's always fear, guys. Instead of using afraid, what are you afraid of? What are you fearful of? Just like, hey, like, what's your main concern? I'm here to help. What's your main concern? I'm here to help. So we talk about tonalities, the concerned tone, empathetic tone. One of the ways you can do that with your body language. What's your main concern? I'm here to help. You put your hand on your chest and you lean in. I'm here to help. I'm telling you guys, when people feel you care, you'll enroll more people. And you're doing so because you care about them, not because you're trying to be deceiving. Is this making sense? Is this helpful, guys? So Terry, let's get to your call. You want to give us a bit of context here?
What I'd like you to review is just my price drop and net objection. And now that you coached us on it, I really feel embarrassed because I didn't handle it like this. But I haven't had a call with you in a while, so I'd like some feedback on just kind of everything, my energy, the response I gave her, my answer, all that. So,
okay. I'm just going to play the first couple seconds of this because I'm always interested in seeing how this starts.
Well, about a year ago, I had my blood work.
Oh yeah. So first of all, hallelujah that we have a prospect sitting at their computer, which is great. That's a good start, as opposed to on their phone walking around their house. So that's a good start.
And that's what I teach. That's the difference, Mary, is I'm going to teach you how to do it and how to make sure that it never comes back, that you don't gain your way back. You're going to learn so much, like so much.
So right away, body language is awesome, right? You can tell you're the authority in this conversation, right? You got good energy, good conviction. You're using your hands, not artificially. It's just who you are, right? And how you're showing up, which is great.
And after the 4 months, what happened?
It's not like a great question. And after the 4 months, then I have additional options that.
Okay, so how many of you guys ever get this question? What happens after I don't even start this program, more or less? What happens after the 4 months before I even start the program? Hey, we celebrate because you'll be a different version of yourself. You'll be so different, you'll actually have to go to the DMV and get a different birth certificate or driver's license. They won't even recognize you, right? You can just play with that. So I wouldn't even talk about the next program. I would just talk about your life is going to transform. But honestly, the specifics are irrelevant if we don't even get started today. So why don't we talk about what that looks like, right? So just like, you will be a different person. You will be like everything you said you wanted. This is what this life looks like. How does that feel? How do you what does that do for you thinking about this possibility 4 months from now? Do you get jazzed up or you're like, like if you're jazzed, awesome. Let's talk about how we can get you started today because what happens in 4 months is irrelevant if we don't even start. So we get out of the details, guys. Get out of the weeds.
And by the way, you're just my ideal client, to be very honest. You're the type of woman that is coachable, I can tell. I think you are. You're pretty coachable. Yeah. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're going to do the work. And these women are all that way. And so these women build such strong relationships.
Yeah.
So I'm very selective about who I allow to enter my program. So if we decide, if I decide that this is a fit, I'll definitely, we'll pop next steps. But how does all this sound to you?
I don't even have diabetes, but I want to join the program. Like, good job, Terry. Like, you're speaking, you could see her eyes. Like, she's getting teary-eyed. You're speaking possibility into her. The only thing I would add a little bit in there is like, you could see her light up. And then you kind of did this a little bit, right? You just asked her the question, like, are you the type of person that can show up? And she's like, definitely, for sure, right? That's the type of response you want to see in someone. So good job there.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yep.
So, like, she didn't give me any indication the whole call that she was struggling, like it was a financial thing, like not one drop of concern with money.
Sure.
Until this.
Yeah. Well, why do you think that is?
I'm not sure what didn't I ask? I don't know if I didn't ask the question or if it was a little bit of money. It's never
about the money. No, like some people, remember, like not everyone is willing to, like for someone to say I'm struggling financially, that's for some people, that's a really big ego blow, right? For someone to say I don't have the money, it's like put a stake in my heart, like so that there's sometimes, different people, they're very proud and you may not be able to kind of dissolve some of that. And then it comes up. But if it comes up in the end, then it's like, cool. Like at least she's told you the truth at that point. And then you're like, hey man, I'm going to stick with you here in the pocket, right? Let's talk about this. So sometimes they might open up a bit more early, sometimes not, but you got to do what you got to do with, when it comes.
So the investment would be, there's two ways. I do have a payment option of two payments of $1,700, or better hit all up front, it's $3,000. Most women like to do the one payment only because they save a little bit of money.
Right. Okay.
So, but it's up to you. Which one sounds like the best fit?
Yeah, I have to think about it. So the one thing too, is that with tax? And so see for me with Canadian, because that's US dollars.
US dollars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I do just want, I guess, the night to reflect and figure out how I could make this work within my budget.
So aside from the money, is there anything else that?
No.
Okay. Because, I mean, when you say you need to think about it, you really don't need to think about it anymore, do you? Because you've been thinking about it for a year.
Yeah, I think
Is it more just really trying to raise the finances?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to, because it's a 25% more for me, so I need to figure out what that looks like. What that amount and all that kind of stuff.
So Here's a piece of advice for all of you guys. If you know the person you're speaking to is in a different country, just already have the prices mapped out. So it's 1,700 US. I just thought, it's 1.35 ish. So that's going to be 2K. We don't need the night to think about it. We already solved it, right? It's just a stall. 25% more. Hey, listen, I get it. Like, no one likes the exchange rate unless you're on the other side of the border. But we're not going to let a couple $100 get in the way of you solving this once and for all, are we? Because, I think we both know Health Canada is a disaster. The system up there is a joke, which is why we're talking today, right? Like, don't ever let the exchange rate kill a deal, guys. It's so, like, I had a similar conversation, not around diabetes, but with someone yesterday, actually, in IG. And the person's like, yeah, I'm just going to save up, even though they're in a position where they can't save up. Like, they don't have the ability to make money, which is why he's reaching out to me in the first place. And I said, this is in the chat. And I said, hey man, are you open to some feedback? And he's like, sure. And then I said, I see a lot of potential in you, but if I'm being honest, you're thinking way too small, because you're never going to grow to the level that you want to grow to by cutting. You can't grow your business by cutting expenses. And I just kind of laid into him in terms of how he was showing up. And then he responded, and then he kind of explained himself, and he said, you're right. That really triggered me. I'm in. Let's do this. Because I attacked his self-identity from a place of love. I'm like, dude, I know, what are you doing here? Put it on a credit card. It's not a big deal, right? You're not going to keep saving your way. Like, in this case, 25% on $3,000. We're talking about what, $650, $700? Like, yeah, it's not ideal, but neither is having diabetes for the rest of your life, right? So let's not allow a couple $100, even $1,000. God forbid, this program is already friggin' inexpensive, right? So just for all of you guys, number one is make sure the price payment options are mapped out for UK, for Euro, for Canadian dollars, whoever you're speaking to, just map them out in your documents, already. If you're sharp, right? 1,700 times 2, and just to keep your life simple, that's basically 2,000 Canadian, because I know you're up in Canada. Like, oh shit, cool, awesome. We've taken one more thing off the table.
So anyway, the rest of it is just basically me. She did book another follow-up the next day, and then of course she emails me, I'm sick, I don't feel good. So I said, well, let's do it Friday. And she did Friday, and she texted me this morning, and she's like, I'm nauseous. I'm like, listen, we only need 30 minutes. I need to talk with you. It ended up being, when I got to the real problem, she wasn't nauseous. She was afraid it wasn't going to work for her.
Exactly. And she was nauseous about making the investments.
Yeah, I said, so you trust me, right? She goes, yep. I said, but so you don't trust you, that's going to work for you. She goes, yeah, I think so. So I went into all the, some of the things that you taught us, and she did buy. So that's good. So I sold her today. But
Terry, I'm telling you, this is what I'm talking about, guys. It doesn't matter. The word tracks don't matter. You can tell you care, and you can tell that she is going to be in good hands. I'm telling you guys, that's why I'm saying, even if we watch that call on mute, it would have still been obvious, because you can tell you care, and you can tell you're an expert. She can feel that too. And so just by staying in the pocket with her and being able to coach her through that is amazing, because that's what this is about. It's not about being slick and knowing exactly what to say, although it helps, right? Having the words is helpful. Knowing how to say them, tonality is very helpful. But the conviction and the caring is everything. You can speak a different language, but if they somehow they pick up on your energy, they're like, oh, okay, cool, let's do this. So well done. That's awesome. Hey, we'll get back to the video in just a moment, but if you're enjoying this content, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I've got videos coming your way every single week until I die. And I don't plan on dying anytime soon. And what that means for you is that you'll be getting my best insights to help you grow your health business online faster, without the grind and without all the guesswork. But the reality is this. I'm not asking for a lot, just a simple little commitment, which is for you to subscribe to the channel right now. And that way you can get notified every single time we're dropping a new video to help you grow faster. So all you have to do right now is hit that subscribe button below. It will help me sleep a lot better at night. But more importantly for you, it'll help you build your dream a lot faster. So go ahead, subscribe, and we'll get back to the show. Okay, Nicolene, let's have a look at your call. What specifically would you like me to look at here?
It's a long call, so an hour, 24 minutes. That's where I share the price, and then she does her objection, and we start to talk about that. So, yeah.
And so you can see the prices for 6 months is $3,600 US. If you pay in full, that's how much it is. If you require a payment plan, which some people choose, then it's a down payment and then 5 monthly payments of $555. So about 20% more.
Don't worry about saying it's more. Just it is what it is. But really, like, I love your tone. It's so fluid, Nicolene. It's just like super Taj. So that's great.
All right. But this is probably, I mean, is it something that I can at least have 24 hours to think about? Okay. All right. And so knowing that I'm the one that has a in this program, are there any questions like outside of the cost? You know, something that you feel would work for you, or do you have questions specifically? Or
I do think it'll work for me because you said something earlier that it was so exact that I needed accountability. And I was like, that's why I'm not doing it, because I don't have any accountability. I found that the accountability he said is definitely going to speak to me. I just need to make sure that that I understand everything. I just need to make sure that I need to map things out on my schedule just so I will not falter.
When someone says I need accountability, man, they just open the door for some serious coaching at this point of the call, right? So like she's bringing up stuff here like this. I just need to map stuff out of my calendar. She has a process, right? She has a process for how she lives and makes decisions. And it's clearly not working for her, right? So like maybe not in this exact moment, but in a couple, maybe there's an opportunity to just touch on this because the obstacle is the way, right? The objection she's bringing up is the reason she needs to do this. So we'll see how we can weave this in a moment.
I'm 100% flexible and happy to accommodate because my goal here is to help you find your success, right? I mean, we need more winners. We need our women to be strong and healthy. This is how we're going to survive. So you're right. Louis, I'm acting for delays because I have to something at work. I'm trying to tame a lion at work. So I just need to make sure that all of that is an audit.
Okay, so what type of objection was that? If we go high level, I know that's a bit of an ambiguous question, but it's a when-then objection. When I get this like lion tamed at work, then I'll do this. It's the same as like I'm waiting for a tax return, then I'll do this. I'm waiting to sell my rental property, then I'll do this. So how do we handle that specific situation? It's like, hey, totally understand that's a pain in the ass to deal with that stuff at work. Just out of curiosity, what happens if that doesn't get resolved this week? Right? So whatever they say, the thing they're waiting on, we just like, hey, totally get it. What happens if that doesn't pan out the way you want it to? And when it goes one of two ways, well, it will. Amazing. So then we don't have to wait. Or then they'll bring some excuse up. And then we can say, hey, are you open to a bit of feedback here? So Jamil, you said the one thing that appealed to you most about us working together was the accountability. And right now, you're looking for some more time to get your stuff in order, to make sure everything's perfect. And would it be fair to say that that's been a pattern that you've pretty much adopted up until this point in time? Yes. And is it fair to say that because of that pattern, you have the current results you have? Yes or no? Yes. So would it make sense to keep repeating that pattern to get those same results? Or are you open to being held accountable today to move in the direction you said you know you need to do? Because, hey, let's be honest, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. But you're not here for the same results. You're here for results that are slightly or much better. Is that right? Yes. Cool. So how on earth are we supposed to get different results if you keep doing the same thing? By the way, that's just a sneak peek of what's on the inside in terms of keeping you accountable to your goals. And then she's going to say whatever she says, right? So part of what you can do here for someone who's going to like release or kind of play the procrastination game here is you just go through the, like, okay, right now, do you know with 100% certainty what the major objection is?
It's not finances. She's a New York Stock Exchange finance broker who's just stopped doing that and is now doing education. There is no financial issue. We had a follow-up call and I did better at coaching through it than I did in this one around the objections, yet we still ended up in this place of I'm afraid I'm going to pay and then I'm not going to have time to do it.
Sounds to me like this isn't that important to you.
Well, and so I started to get there, and this is the ovary that I need to grow, which is say that out loud and just face it, you know.
Okay, so let's play this out. So I'll just give you a bit of a word track. So you say, I'm just afraid if I commit, I'm not going to really be like, I'm going to be pulled in different directions and I'm not going to fully commit to this. So I'll be the coach here, like, hey, listen, like I totally get that. I understand. But can I share my concern with you about that? So my concern is that, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, my reputation is the most important thing to me. And the only reason it's important to me is, it's a reflection of my clients getting results. What's most important is my clients' results, which is a direct reflection on my reputation. My concern right now, Jamila, is that with what you just said, if I brought you on as a client, I'm taking on a lot of risk now. Because the last thing that I need is for someone to come in looking for the exit door or looking to quit or looking to not commit. Because how do you think that's going to make me look as a coach, as a provider? Let her answer, right? Not great. Exactly. So this is unselling at this point. So I'm going to push her away. I'm going to sell the exit. I'm going to push her away. So it's like, listen, before we even go any further, before we even consider taking the next step, I need to know for sure that this is a hell yes commitment from you. Like, you can't dip your toe in the water and want to swim at the same time. And if you don't want to do that, that's 100% okay. Just please don't tell me you do, and you're not willing to back that up. Again, to me, it doesn't matter. I'm still doing my thing. I'm helping my clients. I'm living my life. But this makes a very big difference for your life. But this is on you. You have to make the choice. Right? So again, at this point, I'm going to push her away. I'm going to put the commitment back on her. Anytime someone wavers in commitment, I'm going to be like, whoa, hold your horses. One sec. I'm a little bit concerned right now because this is not going to be great for my business. Right? And again, this is something you guys can all use. You can say, listen, do you know the difference between me and a doctor in the system? Well, here's the deal. You go to the doctor, they get paid regardless of your outcome. They punch in, punch out, they get a check. If you don't get results, I don't stay in business. So it's actually in my best interest to only work with clients who are committed to doing the work. So can you understand my dilemma here? And then I'm just going to be like, well, what do you want? What do you think we should do? And then it's her choice. Well, yeah, okay, cool. I guess I can bring you in. So did you want to use the full pay or the payment plan? Does that help?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, Mr. Dr. Emerald, give me a bit of context for this.
It's a call with actually another chiropractor in Ontario. Our son has been dealing with ear infections. That's what I solve is recurrent ear infections without antibiotics and surgery.
Oh, dude. Oh, I have never cried in my life like I did when I had an ear infection 10 years ago. It was the worst pain I've ever been in. So mad respect because it's needed. Okay. So let's have a look at the first couple minutes and then I'm going to jump to the close. I just want to see how that's how that conversation goes.
Well, what's your kid's name first?
Dalton.
Dalton.
And honestly, with our background being that we're alternative, I used to be chiropractic. I've done everything possibly known to me in terms of lymph drainage and naturopath. We do essential oils. We do all these things that in the end, we still had pretty bad ear infections for up to a year and a half. I'm getting frustrated with the fact that he now has got a cold that it usually goes from a really stuffy nose, sinus nose, and then it turns into his ear infection. So looking for what else.
So what is your approach to dealing with ear infection? As you're listening to someone who's very sophisticated like this, is she going to give you a bunch of stuff that you already do? Or is there something in your back pocket that she's never heard of?
So honestly, I was feeling pretty cooked and I just was wanting to ask more questions, understand what has she been doing. And later on, about halfway through, there was this nugget where she mentioned that her son is super congested and that was actually a huge issue. So then it went into a mouth breathing issue. And then I was like, boom, okay, right there. That's what we're going to be focusing on that we haven't gotten to yet with Balden.
And that's an integral part of your approach in general?
It's a piece that I touch on and that I have an orthodontist that I would usually refer out to if we're seeing that as a conjunction.
Yeah.
For her and Dalton, that's going to be a big feast.
Yeah. So if you don't have this already, you want to kind of keep one or two, I call them missing assets in your back pocket. So when you're talking to, not that all of your clients will be chiropractors to adjust their kids from day one, but right away, she's going to start taking off all the things that you say one thing, she's going to be like, I did that already. This isn't going to make sense for me. So we have to have something in our back pocket where it's like, and have you guys done this? Insert whatever. And she says, I have no idea what that is. That's when you have them hooked in. So we always want to know, for if I'm talking to the most sophisticated person on the planet who's probably done everything under the sun, what's the one or two things they would never have heard of? Either you give it a new name, or if they're an average consumer and they don't understand what mitochondria is, you can use basic physiology, in which case they'd be like, I've never heard of that. And you're like, oh my God, that could be part of what's going on here. But let's dig into that a bit more. Because again, the challenge with going into depth about your program, not that I'm saying you are, but in general, and this is why we've obviously condensed the prescription, is the more we talk about our program, the more reasons we give the prospect to tell us that they've done all this stuff. Oh, like I've done coaching calls before. Oh, I did that stuff and it didn't work out. So by keeping it less process heavy and more on the outcome and kind of like really figuring out what might be missing from what she's done or it allows the gap to be expanded. Does that make some sense?
I'd love to get some more clarity on when you're saying, it sounded like you mentioned the nutritional piece, if that's like an area where it feels like it's lacking.
I don't know if we're doing enough. Is there, I guess, is there something else that I should be incorporating into our diet or supplementation or anything else that would help improve our overall health? And I'm just frustrated with my child being the one that I'm having an issue with, and I've seen such great positive results with so many others.
Do you talk a lot about nutrition in your process, or is it tangential?
It's part of it, but I know that it's not going to be as deep as likely she's doing. But for the average consumer, then like it's going to be part of it. Yeah.
Again, I don't want to put words into a word track that aren't necessary. Like if someone's dealing with a lot of sinus stuff, like there might be some like, hey, like how much dairy is going on, or is there a lot of like stuff like that? And so sometimes when people say like we're eating well, we're doing all the stuff right. Again, this is almost stuff you want to have mapped out ahead of time. So if someone says like, yeah, like I'm supplementing, I'm doing all the right stuff, be like, oh, that's awesome. And you can ask them a question that assumes the standard, right? So for instance, I'll just use an example of like fruit and vegetables because I can't think of anything else. So a person's like, I eat really well, but like obviously they're in not great, it's a great situation. So like maybe they don't eat as well as they think they do. So instead of saying like, oh, cool, I would ask the question, if I know the standard, for instance, was like 8 servings of fruits and vegetables per day, I would ask a question to be like, hey, that's awesome. Just out of curiosity, how many times per week are you getting 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables? And that's when the truth will come to the surface. They'll be like, well, I mean, I supplement, and then like they're just going to dance around the question. So whatever the standard is, ask the question in that format. So like, let's just use an exercise perspective. Yeah, like I worked out a lot. Cool. Like how many times per week are you lifting really heavy weights? So you're like, oh, I thought I was just walking on a daily basis. So their perception of I'm doing things right is not the reality. Because the thing, guys, what people have to understand is there's levels. There are levels. And what they think they're doing when they see like, oh, I've done that already, what they don't understand is they thought they did that thing. So they've checked that box off. But what they don't understand is that they've only played level 1 of like a 10-part game. Does that make sense? I remember when I wrote my book, The All Day Energy Diet, I didn't realize how bad some people were with like coffee as an example. And I'd get these testimonials and people would be like, yeah, like before this program, I was like, I couldn't start my day without a pot of coffee. Right. So if someone comes into a conversation and they're like, yeah, I drink a bit of coffee. I'm like, cool. Like how much coffee? And like, I'm trying to set the standard for what is like, oh shit, that's way out of left field. That's not even where we're in the ballpark. So they start to see the gap. Does that make sense? So again, you guys can think about that and whatever, when you're asking when someone's doing this thing or if they've done something else or what does your current regime look like? If whatever they say is like, I think I'm doing everything right, give them a question that sets the standard. So we can be like, oh, that's the standard. And so now it's like, oh shit, maybe there's a gap. Make sense? Okay, so you said 56 was the close-ish?
So you can either do 3 monthly payments of $16.55, or you can do a single payment of $41.35, and that's all in Canadian, the CAD. And this course is for the length of 4 months with this curriculum as well. Okay.
Replace course with us working together or this mentorship. Because course, right away, I'm like, oh, it's online videos, right? So we start to commoditize the actual solution a little bit.
Would you mind putting like, what's a good phone number, and then the billing address in there, and then we can get things going for that for you.
Where do you want it?
In the chat would be good.
Cool. So she in?
She's in, yeah. And we are starting on my first cohort is on the 15th,
Nice. Awesome.
and there's five spots left.
Did you get that vibe throughout the conversation? Or was it like,
I felt like halfway through when she was like she started to open up more and talk a lot more. I was like, okay, yeah, we're like on the right track. You know, I could like see her frustration of just not being very clear.
Yep.
And then when she started talking about wanting to be able to help her own practice members' kids, then I was like, okay.
so that's another leverage point. Like, even if she didn't bring that up, and again, I'm assuming you're not talking to most chiropractors, but like, we always want to be thinking when there's an opportunity to tie this into their vocation, and this is one of those things where we just want to always be like on it, but you get sharper as you do this more often. So like, hey, like this just actually occurred to me, Amanda. Like, can you imagine once we have this all figured out with you and Dalton, like, what do you think this could help you with in your practice? And it's like, oh shit, that'd be so cool. Again, that's, a bit of a unique scenario, but yeah, dude, overall, really good. I mean, really good, friendly tone. I can see why she opened up with you after the first couple minutes, because you make it very easy to do so, which is amazing. And well done on the enrollment. Can I give you one thing just in case like this comes up for you, because you're talking to a parent on behalf of the child? How many calls have you had so far?
That was first.
First one? Okay. So you will definitely have calls that are going to be like, well, I need to think about it. It's too much money, whatever it is. Okay. So if you want to like write this down, this will be gold for these types of clients. So you get to the end of the call, you introduce the pricing and, which one feels best for you. And they're like, oh, it's, whatever they say. You handle the objection to the best of your ability. And then you get to the point where you can ask this question. I'll just use Amanda as an example. So Amanda, if you had to write a check for Dalton's safety, for what his life was worth, for him never to have another ear infection ever again, you probably couldn't even write that check, could you? And she'll say no. But if you had to, it'd be at least $4,000. Wouldn't you agree? Mm-hmm. Right. So whatever the price is, it'd be at least this. So when you're dealing with parents who have kids who are going to be the main subject of the program, put it on the kid. Hey, listen, like if you had like your child's safety, you couldn't even write a check for that. But if you had to, it'd be at least $4,000, wouldn't it? And then it's going to come down to, how do I know this is going to work? That's like, you can't, like, what are you going to say? Like, no, actually my child's worth $3,500. $4,000, no way. Like, they're not going to say that. So that's a really good one you can use in that context if it comes up. Good. Awesome. Thanks for sharing the call. Thanks for hanging a little bit longer, guys. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I guess in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to package your health coaching program together, how to bring the deliverables together, how to support your clients, all those thoughts around how do I bring this expertise online. That's what I'm going to walk you through in this video.